anytime, any day. Why not right now? Stop looking up to your boss and start being your own boss. Don't work for paychecks. Work for dreams with no regrets. This is Cracking the Entrepreneur Code. If you have the passion, we'll create the blueprint. Now, your host. You know him from his 7 tips to build the business you always wanted, and now you're about to hear a lot more. Jack H.M. Wong.
Welcome to the Cracking the Entrepreneur Code podcast show. And I'm your host, Jack H.M. Wong. How many of you have made mistakes in your life? If you haven't, you are lying. Why? Because mistakes is part of our journey. It's part of our life. I'm sure we have been making mistakes when we were young. How do I know? You were a baby before, isn't it? Do you know how to walk when you were first born? If you remember how you walk, you first walk by learning how to crawl as a baby. And you start using your hands to support you. And later on, you were able to stand up and make your first few moves. So that itself is a process. The process which you have make a lot of mistakes. But guess what? The babies don't understand or don't even realize these are mistakes. They treat the mistakes as part of the journey. So when you grow up, what happens is the traditional education system. In my last episode, I mentioned that the traditional education system has done a fantastic job. The fantastic job of saying that, you know what, if you make mistakes, you will be punished. You will be penalized. So guess what happened? You are afraid of making mistakes. So in this episode, I want to still going through a personal development process because mindset to me is very, very important. Because if the mindset isn't clear, no matter what strategies that I'm going to introduce or going to teach you, it won't work. Simply put, if the mindset is not ready for the change, it is a total waste of time to deal with all the business strategies, which is something a lot of people don't realize. Because many people who want to start a business, they spend thousands and tens of thousands of dollars learning all the most advanced strategies in sales, in marketing, in branding, in closing, in presentation, you name it. Basically, they can spend lots of money in doing that. And at the end, what happened? These people came back with only one thing. You see, I've spent so much money in these trainings and they all are not working at all. And I wonder why. So some of them might say, well, is it because these trainings aren't good enough? And therefore, I should pay more money or spend more money to pursue other more advanced trainings. And you can imagine the cycle keeps going on and on and on. So let's come back to the mindset. Well, if you decide to start a business, if you decide to make your first move out of the corporate world to the entrepreneurial world, that is already a mindset shift. But the point I'm making is that, well, you can visualize it and thinking that, okay, if I am able to start my own business, this is what I will be able to do. This is the money that I can make. This is the time freedom that I can regain. So you can dream on and on, visualize all the good things. But now, when you are about to tender the resignation, you have typed the last letter of resignation, you have put it into an envelope, get ready to be given to your boss and say goodbye. Suddenly that little voice comes in. How many of you can relate to that? That little voice says, let me think about it. Or maybe I would just check the typo if the letter of resignation has any typo, or I misspell my boss name incorrectly. You say all sorts of things, all sorts of interesting little voices show up because you are not really ready. You might be consciously ready, but your subconscious mind say, hang on for a minute, you know what, I think it's risky to tender the resignation right now, maybe I'll do it tomorrow. So guess what happened? This journey keeps going on and on again, and you know what, it takes you 2 months, 3 months, or maybe 1 year for you to tender a resignation. So you see this, how interesting our subconscious mind works. So I would like to take this opportunity to deal with this particular issue of how this little voice shows up and how we can deal with it. Unfortunately, if you ask Jack, are you able to teach me to eliminate these little voices? No way. These little voices are there for a particular reason. You know what it is? That is to protect you. This is how subconscious mind works. Okay? So we can't eliminate or get rid of these little voices, but through certain techniques, we are able to deal with them by mitigating or asking them to move away for a time being so that we can keep up with our energy and take action. So the next time when you are about to make a decision, and this decision is going to be very, very important to you. Like my example earlier, when you have finished typing a letter of resignation, you have planned everything. In episode 2, I talk about the 5 steps for you to take note so that you do not repeat the mistake that I've made when I started my own entrepreneurial journey 6 years ago. Okay? So in this particular instance, you ask yourself when this little voice comes in, a couple of questions. Number 1, what caused these little voices to happen? Perhaps in your childhood, when you were young, you experienced something similar. I mean, the incidents, of course, will not be the same, but the emotion is pretty much similar. You feel anxious, or you feel fear, or you are not confident. So in such case, ask yourself, okay, it's all good. It's all good to acknowledge this fear, this feeling about not being confident. So the first thing that I would recommend as part of the little voice management techniques is to first of all acknowledge this feeling, not to chuck it away or force it out to somewhere. Because to me, acknowledgement is a very big deal. Identify this feeling and acknowledge it is a very big deal. Second thing, it's okay to ask this little voice, thank you for being here. Thank you for allowing me to acknowledge you. And thank you for showing up in my life. I know these are important. So you're actually in a dialogue with the little voice. It's interesting because your little voice can hear what you say. So what you do next is it okay? So make a request to these little voices. Make a request to ask them to just kindly move somewhere, because you need the energy to make that decision or to take the action. By asking the little voice to just go away for a period of time, guess what happens? Your energy goes up. And when your energy goes up, that gives you the momentum of doing the things that you are supposed to do. And you know what? After all, it is a sigh of relief. I have actually done that. And ask yourself, last time when you were about to make a decision and when you decide to take the action, how could it happen? Was it because the energy was high, or is it because the energy was low? Guess what? When energy is high, you can take action very easily. Very often when a person is in doubtful mode, not confident mode, or in anxious mode, it's because the person has low energy and the energy can't be kept up with, so that the person couldn't take any action. So this little voice management technique of number 1, identify and acknowledge the feeling. Number 2, to have a dialogue with the little voice and thank the little voice for being here. And number 3, by asking the little voice to slowly move away for the time being so that you can get back the energy that you want and you are able to take the action that you have to take. So you know what? Having this 3 steps process will allow you to manage your little voice. And you are not afraid of making any mistakes, because you know jolly well as a child you have been making mistakes. Mistakes are part of our learning journeys and cycle. So it's all right. It's all good to make mistakes. However, not to take any action is a very, very big mistake, which to me is something that you can't afford. So taking action is important, and you know you do not make any mistake by not taking action. In order to take action, you need to keep up with your energy. So this 3-step little voice management technique is my tool, is my gift to you, so that you know next time when you need to make that decision, that big decision, like you are about to leave the corporate world to move to the entrepreneurial world, you know what? You will have this energy that helps you to take this gigantic step and jump off the plane. That's it. And I hope that you enjoyed these tips that I'm sharing with you in this episode. If you think that these tips are important, not just for you, but the people you love, share with them. And please let them know that we have Cracking the Entrepreneur Code podcast show, and ask them to subscribe as well. And I will be very, very appreciative for your help. Meanwhile, if you have any questions, let me know. Let me see if I can help you. Until next time we meet, stay healthy, take care of your little voice, and keep up with your energy.
To continue cracking the Entrepreneur Code, subscribe for more episodes and download the Amazon bestseller, Cracking the Entrepreneur Code, 7 Tips to Build the Business You Always Wanted at crackingentrepreneur.com. Learn more about author and host Jack H.M. Wong and book your 30-minute discovery session to overcome any professional challenge at jackhmwong.com/apply.